and welcome to Youth in Politics. I'm your host, Justin Chenette, and today's topic has to do with community service, delving away from our political arena. And my guest today, I'm pleased to announce, is the Corporate Board President of the Maine chapter of the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
That's a mouthful. That's quite a title.
It is, yeah.
Let's delve into HOBY for short. It's an international organization, correct?
It is. It's an international organization. We have seminars in all 50 states, as well as, gosh, I want to say probably about 20 countries around the world as well.
Wow. And Hugh O'Brien, hence the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership, started the foundation. Hugh
O'Brien, who's well known as playing Wyatt Earp, founded the Youth Leadership Program in 1958. Mm-hmm. He had spent, I believe it was about a month with Albert Schweitzer in Africa, and came back from that experience really driven and excited to find ways to give back. And the way he chose to give back was by creating this program that would empower youth to develop their leadership skills, but also increase their motivation to give back to their communities.
And the program is only targeting sophomores in high school, correct?
Correct. The primary target of the program is for sophomores in high schools. We invite students from around the state of Maine to attend a 3-day seminar held generally in May or June of each year. And they're chosen from their schools in a variety of different ways. Some schools do essay contests, some schools do nominations, some just look for students who might be interested in attending the program. And they're generally selected based on leadership that they've displayed or leadership potential that is seen in them by people who might be nominating them.
Now, why is it just high school sophomores?
I believe that the reasoning, and if you think about where a student is, so if we start with just logistically, once you get into your junior and senior year, you're starting to start thinking about where you're going to go to school, and you're filling out all those college applications and visiting colleges and doing work like that. In your freshman year, you're just really trying to get used to high school.
Right.
And so in your sophomore year, I think that's when a lot of youth start to think about there's a future beyond high school and what might that look like. And it's a great time for us to be able to invest and offer these types of programs that help them really discover who they could be as they grow up.
And you have strong participation with all schools across the state?
We have in the past. HOBY Maine restarted in Maine about 4 or 5 years ago. We had actually been founded in Maine in 1978, and then there was a brief hiatus, I believe, starting in 2001. And we've had about 45 students per year for the last 4 years. We're hoping to drive that number up. We'd love to have full participation from every school, but really would love to get up to that. To have 100 students every year would be an amazing program.
Right. Now, there's other organizations in Maine that specialize in youth leadership. There's Maine Youth Action Network. There's a lot of other organizations. Now, how does a HOBY Maine compare to those other state seminars?
I think that HOBY Maine plays with those seminars really well, if you will. I think that all of those programs offer amazing opportunities for youth. And I think that the more programs we can have, the more students that we can serve and offer these opportunities to.
So you think it's friendly competition?
Oh, yeah, and I don't even really see it as competition, quite frankly. I think that we offer another opportunity for high school sophomores.
And it's a 3-day seminar that you put on. Can you talk a little bit about what takes place there? So some of the activities that you guys do,
sure.
and I take it it's a very engaging experience.
Sure, yes. The program generally starts on a Friday, so it's all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we really focus on leadership activities. We do team building and skill building activities. Some of them are things that I've done in previous work environments with leaders in big companies. So it's stuff that I've done with adults, and now we're doing it with high school sophomores. And sometimes, quite frankly, the high school sophomores do it better than the adults do. The other things we do is we bring in speakers. We generally have a keynote speaker every year. We also generally try to have 1 to 2 speaker panels on different topics. Last year we had a group of people come in and talk about the environment and leadership impact on environment, giving back, and how students can get involved. And we really try to cross-pollinate those panels. We've had government panels before, we've had education panels. What's always amazing to me, and usually what's always amazing to the speakers that come in, they don't really know what they're in for when they get there. They think they're speaking to high school sophomores and may come in with a preconceived notion of what that's going to look like. It's going to be an easy gig for them. These kids, youth kids, really ask some hard-hitting questions. They really think about the topics that they're talking about, and really can challenge the panel members in a really wonderful way to bring up some rich discussion and learning. And I think sometimes panel members learn as much from the ambassadors as the ambassadors learn from them.
Do you think ageism, what you were just talking about, plays a role in maybe preventing some young people in getting involved in their communities, whether it be in the political sense or just helping people, like maybe young people feel like they don't have a voice in the community? Do you see that as a problem today?
I think in some ways it is. I think that programs like HOBY and the other programs around the state help with that. I think that the more we can involve youth and show youth where they can have an impact, we'll see greater participation. But I also think that Maine has a really strong, if you look around, there are so many charitable organizations just in the greater Portland area alone. I've done work for the United Way before, and it's amazing how many volunteer opportunities and how many charitable organizations there are and ways for people to give back. And I think our youth are reasonably involved. I think in Maine we have a lot of very civic-minded people in the state, I believe.
Now, going back to the state seminar, you mentioned there's some team-building activities.
Yeah.
Can you talk about maybe one of your favorite ones that you like to do with the students?
My favorite, and it's one that I tend to facilitate each year just because it is my favorite, is a toxic waste activity.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, basically we set up, it's two circles, one smaller than the other, and we have two pails in the middle of those circles. And the one pail is filled with marbles and tennis balls, and the goal is for the students working together as a team to use a contraption that's made up of a bicycle tire, inner tube, and a bunch of ropes. And they have to save the world by moving this toxic waste from the canister that it's in now, these tennis balls and these marbles, and they have to pour them without spilling any into the other pail. And it sounds, kind of basic, but when you get so many voices in trying to figure out how to solve a problem, it tends to get chaotic, it tends to get challenging. Some people may feel left out or not heard, and we work through that. So if we let them go through the first time and try. And most groups, I've seen very few groups get it on the first time, and usually if they do, it's because somebody in the group has done it before and does a really good job of exercising their leadership voice. But most times they fail the first time, and there's a lot of laughter and a lot of frustration, and we sit down and we talk about that and talk about what worked and what didn't. And as a group, they come up with different strategies to make it work, and most of them succeed on the second try.
Let's continue the conversation regarding the state seminar. You mentioned the toxic waste team-building activity. Do you run into any problems with maybe the cohesiveness of the groups that are participating in the program, because you're bringing strangers together, about 45 a year or whatever, into an environment that it's really having to break outside of your comfort zone? What is that experience like for students?
Here's what's amazing, and I often get calls from parents who are nervous about sending their children away this is often the first time that these kids have been away from home for any extended period of time. We hold the seminar at University of New England in Biddeford. They stay overnight in the dorms. They're rooming with someone they've probably never met before. And they arrive anywhere between 8 and 9:30 in the morning on Friday morning. By lunchtime, I'm convinced they've known each other for much longer than 3 or 4 hours. And by the end of day one, I would swear that these kids have known each other for their entire lives. They really, and I think part of it is the strength of the program and the way we've built the program, but I also think that they come into this really more open-minded than I think even they expect. We use things like cheering and songs and activities and things to get them sort of to force them out of their comfort zone, if you will, to make them get involved. We do the activities and things, but we really have a program designed to get them cohesive, as you said, pretty quickly, because that's what's going to help the program be successful. For them to be really engaged, they've got to be comfortable. They show up and we're cheering our heads off. A lot of them look at their parents and go, "Get me out of here now." Like that 40-year-old woman over there, that would be me, is standing there doing some sort of cheer, and she's scaring me. I want to leave.
Right.
But within a couple hours, they're doing the cheers.
What's one of the cheers that you do?
I'm not doing it, Justin. Our primary cheer, our word, if you will, is outstanding. And so whenever we have somebody speak or whenever we introduce a new topic, we often say, "So what did you think about that topic?" Or "What did you think?" And everybody says, "Outstanding," and they cheer. And no, I'm not going to cheer.
Okay. So there's some comparisons to maybe a camp-style feeling.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of, and I think, anybody who's been a camp counselor would feel very at ease, I think, in a facilitator role, because there is a lot of that. And I think one of the other things that's really important is, as adult volunteers, that can be scary for us too. I remember the first year I came, I was a cheerleader in high school. I've done camp counselor stuff before. But the thought of getting up and cheering in front of strangers was like, "What, you want me to do what?" And I love it. Like, I'm hoarse by the end of the 3 days. I can't speak the next day.
Right.
And, for the next, couple days, anytime somebody asks me a question, I'm ready to start with one of our cheers. It's just, it's so much fun.
Every year, Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership also does a World Congress after all the state seminars every year. Can you talk about how particularly the ambassadors at the state level can participate in this World Congress?
Yeah, I think one of the major strengths of the HOBY program is that it is part of an international program, and so the World Leadership Congress, which is being held in Chicago this summer, is a fantastic opportunity if you've been part of a HOBY state seminar. So any student in Maine right now that is interested in attending, we have 2 spots that are reserved for Maine students, and if we have more than that, it's on a first-come, first-served basis. But they can apply online at hoby.org to attend the HOBY World Leadership Congress. We hope in the future, as our fundraising efforts allow for us, to be able to sponsor students for that, because there is, I believe the cost for that program is between $1,000 and $1,500. And the students generally fundraise that.
And you have to be a HOBY ambassador in order to,
yes, you do.
At the state level.
Yep, you have to have attended a state seminar that year.
Let's continue our conversation on the World Leadership Congress by HOBY. It's about a week long. And there's, again, you mentioned there's about 20 plus countries that are participating. So we're bringing 400 plus ambassadors from all over the world in 1 week. That could be a little scary for people that may have not been culturally experienced, if you will. Do you know a little bit about the program?
I do. I think that one of the advantages is all of these students have been to a HOBY state seminar. So the World Leadership Congress is really just that amplified. It's a couple more days long, and there are just a few more people there. But the experience is very similar to a state seminar, just on a grander scale. I think a couple years ago they held it primarily in Washington, D.C., and they do similar things. They do leadership building, they do team building. They have a lot more probably panel discussions and bringing people in. I know when they were in D.C., they had a lot of people from government, from businesses come in to speak. Some really fantastic keynote speakers. They also do, which we also do at our state seminar, is a day of service. And, these kids had a chance to go all over Washington, D.C. and clean up parks and do all kinds of different volunteer work throughout the city, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Speaking of community service, there's a requirement for every ambassador to complete 100 hours of community service. That may seem daunting for some students, and maybe some students do or do not have a community service requirement at their high school. What are some of the projects that ambassadors have done over the years?
That's a great question. I took a look at that this morning to really see where our alumni have been focusing their efforts, and a lot of them do things like peer mentoring or tutoring in their schools. They may do work with lower grades or even right in their high school. We have a couple people who have started their own charitable organizations, or at least I looked, and there's a couple folks that are working on a grant to create their own organization, which I think is pretty cool. Looking to use dance as a way to prevent tobacco use. And pretty creative. We have folks that volunteer at retirement homes, and they do work with organizations like Habitat for Humanity and Relay for Life. Very involved. So.
And how many hours of community service would you estimate over the past few years that ambassadors have donated their time?
Well, since last year's seminar, which was held in June, our ambassadors have logged almost 2,000 hours.
Wow.
Just folks in the past, our alumni have logged that many. And since I got involved in the program, which was in 2007, we've logged almost 8,500 hours. And that's just what the students have gone online. We have a way for them to log online and log their hours. I think many of them are doing a lot more than that. They just haven't filled out the form and gone online to record it.
What has been the response back from the ambassadors after the state seminar and maybe even after the World Leadership Congress in terms of maybe either a survey or some sort of response back from what kind of experience they had at HOBY? Was it life-changing? You know, what is some of the responses that you've gotten back from alumni?
Anecdotally, I stay connected with a lot of the alumni on Facebook, and I hear back from them every year, immediately after the seminar, and then even months after, what a change HOBY made for them. Just last year I had a young lady that was at our seminar sit down next to me in the hall during the seminar, and she'd been quiet the first couple of days, and I was a little worried whether or not she was connecting and whether this was working for her, and she sat down next to me. I think it was we'd just gotten back from community service on day 2, and she looked at me and she said, "This has been the most amazing experience of my life. I've always been sort of quiet and shy, and I really didn't know why I was selected for this program, but I decided to give it a try. My mom encouraged me to come, and it's been absolutely life-changing. I can't wait to get back to my school. I have a different lens on the world, really anxious to do my community service and give back." And that, for me, those moments and hearing from students like that is what just really fills my bucket and makes it all the worthwhile for me.
In terms of connecting with alumni, what sort of programs or initiatives HOBY may have in terms of holding on to that spirit, like you say, of really that life-changing experience? Is there any programs that you do after the state seminar or after the World Leadership Congress to continue that momentum that you build at the conferences?
Yeah, one of the things we're really looking to grow our alumni board and our alumni involvement. We're really trying to leverage our alumni to do that, and it's a bit of a slow start. But every year, we have a number of alumni that look to come back to help volunteer at the seminar. And that has been an amazing experience for me as somebody putting together the seminar, and I think for them as well. It's a completely different view on the seminar. They're leading activities. They're leading discussion at their tables. They're facilitating program work. And last year, we actually had Christy Leclerc, from Noble. She's actually a student at UNH right now. She is the alumni board president, and she co-facilitated the seminar with me. She was right up there in front of the room leading activities and guiding us through the weekend. She did a fantastic job. Christy, just as a side note, has logged over 700 hours of volunteer since her seminar in 2008.
So a lot of students are really shining in their communities, bringing that spirit back to their hometowns. What would you tell students that are maybe watching this program the importance of really getting involved in your community, either volunteering at a soup kitchen or really, trying to make a difference for people? How important is it for people at the high school level or even younger to get involved?
I think it's really important. I think the getting involved not only helps your community, but it also helps you as a person grow. You get a different view on the world. You get to see things in a different perspective than maybe you see them every day. And you get a chance to help other people. And I think what's key about volunteering is finding something that you're passionate about and putting your passion and energy into that, whether it's dance or singing or cooking. You can find different things to take those passions.
If people want to get involved with the organization, either learn information about being an ambassador or information about donating or participating, what can they do? Is there a website or a phone number they can reach you at?
There's two great websites. The HOBY International website is hoby.org, HOBY.org, and hobymaine.org is our website, and that's a great place to find more information and get involved. And if anybody's interested in volunteering, I'm always looking for great adult volunteers, and they can email me directly at sydclifton, SYDCLIFTON, @me.com.
And your next state seminar is coming up?
Yep, June 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Well, good luck to you and your organization.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Justin Shenette, reminding you to become aware with issues of the day, get involved in your community, and voice your opinion. Remember, if it's Sunday and Monday, it's Youth in Politics. For more information on this program, you can visit our website at ynetvlive.com. For more information on my career path, you can visit my website at justinshenette.com. See you right back here next week.